Okay, here's your first run from Friday. And we've talked about the spin some. Um, um, I wonder if you could. He spins so fast and tight. I wonder if you could teach him to spin like twice in a row, and then you work on, like, you tell him to spin, and then, but when you tell him to spin, to him it means to spin twice. So he'll spin once, and then you can start going while he's spinning the second time. Does that make sense? Because the idea with the spin is to try to give you a little bit of an advantage, like, while he's spinning to leave. So, okay, so let's see. But see, he's spinning and right now, I know it's a super new behavior and everything. I still think, Candace, you need to be setting him up like here, so that you're at an angle, so that when you're putting him over this first jump, you can run like this. Because right now, you're back over here, but when you run, you have to go around the swing and then push him back to that jump. So just wherever the second jump is, determines your angle of where you're going to be, if you're going to be on this side or if you're going to be on this side. But I wouldn't be necessarily right in front of it. You don't have to be like way over here, like right by the timer, but just a little bit, so that, he does his spin, and then he can go, and he might take the jump a little bit like that, and you might go that way too, but it's better than you having to go around it a little bit. Because see, you're kind of coming out, and then you kind of have to push him back. And think about looking at the jumps again. You look at the jumps really, really briefly, and then most of the time just kind of staring at him. That was really nice, though. He did that rear cross super nice. Okay, now this is something that should be really easy for you to practice. Do your front cross when he's like right here at the 10th pole. Get ahead and do your front cross, so that when he comes out of the poles, you're done and you're ready to move, and there's none of this, he doesn't know what to do, he's barking, you're trying to cross. Do it while he's in the weaves. He can handle that. It takes practice to get him to stay in, but just do it. And you can keep moving in a straight line, but you just need to be like a few poles ahead of him, and then do the cross, so that when he comes out, you can just go on. Okay, that'll really help a lot if you can do that. Better yet, learn to get ahead and do a blind cross, so you don't have to do those front crosses. That's one thing watching you. We need to find places where you can do blind crosses, and you're not going to be able to do them everywhere, because he is always like so much at your feet. But there are some places, and this would be one of them, at the end of the weave poles, where you can just do a blind cross. You stay close to the poles. So you stay close to the poles, you get a little bit ahead, and then right when you get to the end, you just change sides. You change, instead of having your left arm down, you change it to having your right arm open and having him on your right side. You don't want to be, which you never are anyways, but you don't want to be too lateral of the poles, and then when you do the blind, there's this abrupt, change of your path. But so I would practice that with the weaves. Practice doing a blind cross at the end, and practice getting ahead and doing a front cross. If you can get ahead, it's going to be better for you to do the blind. It's going to be faster for you. It's going to be easier for you. I don't know if you're in pain when you do front crosses, but the blind is going to be better for you all the way around. Okay, so practice that. So it was nice. Yeah, that was nice. I think the rear is probably the best way for you to do that. And he didn't read it, but that's right. Okay, so here's a place where you could have totally done a blind cross. And it's going to take a little bit for you to learn and to see these places and to get a feel for it when you're walking the course. But for you, what I want you to look at is if you have to put a cross in, take a look at the spacing, okay? And when I say that, partly I mean between this jump and that jump, so it's easier if there's a lot of spacing. It depends where he's coming. So he did a 180, he knows how to do a 180, he's pretty confident in doing that, he knows what to do. But also there really isn't anything out here, right? I mean, all these other jumps, those are pretty far away. And so you could have kept going, like right where you are right now, you could have done a blind cross, okay? And it's gonna take him some getting used to, but he probably would come like this and then have to maybe come around you, but so what? Because it's going to be easier for you than trying to do these front crosses. Okay, so, and blind crosses are good to practice like when you're doing a 180 like this, because the dogs recognize the 180 and they know what to do, and there's not a lot of handling that you have to do to get them to go from here to here, so you can just sort of focus on the blind cross. Now, if there was another jump that was a lot closer, like up here, I wouldn't say it to try to do one. But in this situation, on this course with this spacing, I think this could have been a place where you could have tried to do a blind cross. And think about looking at the jumps more than you are, because when he knows where you want him to go, he goes. Now let's see. Blind would have been hard here just because of the angle that he's coming over that jump and the way you're going. So that one would have been hard to get a blind in there. Somehow you get him over this triple. He's a good boy. A good boy. Okay, it wasn't too bad, and he looked pretty happy. So, think blind crosses when you're in classes and stuff. Try to think about if there's a place where you think you could do one, and just try them. Just get a feel for them. If you fail, so what, right? It's in training. That's the time to try stuff like that. And just try to get a feel for it. The worst thing that's going to happen, he's going to go to the wrong side of you and then be confused or whatever. I mean, so just work on it a little bit. I would say, like, with the 180s, it's kind of a good place to try that. I don't know. And then think about looking at the jumps more than you are, okay?